Dandavats, dear devotees. This is the London Zoom with Devashis Prabhu live here in Italy, Vila Govinda Ashram. And I don't know if I'm live or not, but I'm trying to be alive to be with you. And we're here with the devotees. Oh, Krishna Nandini in Ireland. She can let you know we've been a little bit busy in recent days, but we're very happy to come to London via Vila Govinda Ashram and to be with you all and to be with many devotees who are gathering together just now too. So let us all begin first, as devotees are gathering online and settling here. And so let us begin with Vandeham, our mini Vandana, as we do each time. And please choose your language. I know Vandana is Sanskrit and Bengali, but if you choose your language in the interpretation box, then you'll get the appropriate language no matter who is speaking, I think. All right, dear devotees. Vandeham Sri Guru Yuta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitantam Sadivam Sarvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Divishakam Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Prarayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Vasudev Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivastadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we have literally passed the microphone over to Devashis Prabhu. So let Devashis Prabhu start us off. The theme is given by him, and we have a temple room of devotees here who are also participating with our screen full of devotees with you on Zoom.
Yeah, so welcome everybody to our Monday evening Zoom for the London Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math with our Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj, who graciously comes to be with us one way or another on a Monday evening as far as possible. So this week's this week I happen to be in Vila Govinda with Maharaj and with all the other Vaishnavas. They're having their first anniversary festival for the installation of their most beautiful lordships, Sri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Gopinath Jewel. And so the title of this week's Zoom is "Of all types of worship, whose worship is the best?" And the reason I chose that was because just a few days ago was Mahashivratri, and this question is actually the question of Parvati to Lord Shiva. And on the Mahashivratri, I was invited to speak at a local gathering in London, and I told about this conversation of Parvati and Lord Shiva, and this is also mentioned explained by Srila Sridhar Maharaj in Sri Guru and His Grace. I've chosen that chapter to read this evening. It's a chapter called Servant of the Servant. So with your permission, I'm going to read that. So it begins with a devotee saying, "Today is my birthday, and according to the almanac, it is the most inauspicious day of the year." And Guru Maharaj replies, "No, this is the happiest and most fortunate day, because on this day you came to Guru and Krishna. Many birthdays have already passed, but this birthday has brought you in connection with Krishna. So this day should be respected, not only by your disciples, friends, and relatives. You should also have respect for this day. Krishna has blessed you." Time is also described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita in a verse recorded by Ramananda Rai. Ye kale va swapane dekini vangsi vadane. Srimati Radharani says, "When in my trance I came to have a divine vision of Krishna, two enemies suddenly appeared, ecstasy, and also a feeling which is corresponding to extreme love in complete self-surrender. In that state, I could not see Krishna very clearly. These two enemies disturbed me. Ecstasy was my enemy, for it made me self-forgetful, and my greed for his touch was another enemy. They did not allow me to have a clear vision of Krishna, so my thirst for seeing him was unquenched." So, and continuing, this is Srimati Radharani continuing, "If by good fortune I have another chance to have his darshan, divine vision, then what should I do? Avoiding Krishna, I shall instead try to worship time. I shall worship that moment, that minute, that second in which I have the divine vision of Krishna. I shall try to propitiate time, so that time itself may stay for some time. With garlands, sandalwood paste, and jewels, I shall try to worship time and not Krishna. If time stands still, being propitiated with my respectful behavior, then Krishna will remain. In this way, I shall try to fix the time. You please stay here for some time. Krishna is showing himself time. You be eternally here. Otherwise, like lightning, Krishna comes and vanishes. We worship the time, the land, the place, the paraphernalia of Krishna. Anything in connection with Krishna is chinmoy or transcendental. The paraphernalia of Krishna is worthy of our worship. In fact, we shall have to honor Krishna's paraphernalia even more than Krishna himself. That is the clue to success. Krishna's abode, his paraphernalia, and his devotees have a relationship with Krishna, Krishna Sambandha. They are Krishna's devotees, and he is at their disposal. So if we can propitiate them, they will take interest in us and take us up into that realm. Otherwise, we are helpless. In the Padma Purana, it is said, Aradhananam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam Param. Once, Parvati Devi asked Lord Shiva, of all kinds of worship, whose worship is best? Lord Shiva told her plainly, the worship and devotional service of Lord Narayan, Vishnu, is the highest. Parvati became a little mortified and disappointed, thinking, but I am serving Shiva, so I hold a lower position. Then the next line came, Tasmat Parataram Devi Tadyanam Samacharam. But higher than the worship of Narayan is worship of the devotees of Lord Narayan. That is even greater than devotion to the Lord himself. Then Parvati smiled, thinking, I am serving the devotees of the Lord. Shiva is a devotee. Vaishnavanam Jata Shambhu. So I am doing the best thing. This is also confirmed by Krishna in the Adi Purana. Jai me bhakta jana partha, na me bhaktas jate jana. Mad bhakta namcha, ye bhaktas te, mad bhakta tatma matahas. Those who worship me directly are not real devotees. Real devotees are those who are devoted to my devotees. And this principle is true in our own experience. It is said, if you love me, love my dog. How intense one's love for his master must be if he can love the master's dog. And he loves the dog only because it is his master's dog. Not that he wants to take away the dog for himself. He loves it not with the idea of independent love for the dog, but because it is the master's dog. This is a higher taste of our love than simply to love the master. This will test whether we are really lovers. Krishna is more pleased if he sees that his servant is being served. Why? Because his servant always serves him, but he won't take anything in return from Krishna. Krishna tries to give his devotees something, but they won't take it. They have no aspiration to fulfill, no petition to enter in the course of their service. They want only cent% service. There is no possibility for Krishna to award any remuneration there. He can't find the slightest hole in their devotional service through which some remuneration can be pushed. His devotees are wholesale servants and nothing but. Krishna tries his best to give something to his devotees in return for their service, but he fails. So when Krishna sees that his desired aim of rewarding his servants is being done by someone else, he becomes indebted to that person, thinking, what I wanted to do for my servant, he is doing. I wanted to do that, but failed. It was not accepted. But now someone else is doing the same thing I wanted to do. And Krishna is more favorable to the devotee who serves his servant. Then Krishna comes to serve him. That is the underlying purpose of his saying, those who are devotees of my devotee, they are the real devotees of my heart. So Bhakta Puja, worship of the devotee, is the best kind of worship. This statement is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the Vedas, and by Vrindavan Das Thakur in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Amara Bhaktera Puja, Amma Haite Bada. Bhakta Puja, worship of the devotees, is advocated everywhere. At the same time, we should try to understand who is a devotee. That is also to be ascertained. What is the sign of a real devotee? Krishna says, those who say they are directly devoted to me are not devotees proper. Those who are devotees of my devotees are my real devotees. We should try to follow the principle of this saying. This is not a perverted remark, but there is some genuine reality in it. If we look for its inner meaning, we will reach the conclusion that our Guru Maharaj has announced. He said we are Shuddha Shakta, worshippers of the pure potency, not the mundane potency. We worship the potency who is wholesale dedicated to the potent without retaining her individual independence as a separate entity at all. Who is cent% dependent on Krishna? Such a potency as this is very, very rarely to be conceived. The direct approach to Krishna is improper. One must approach him through the proper channel, through the devotees. This is the real approach. Therefore, Gaudiya Math eliminates Mirabai and so many other apparently great devotees from the category of real devotees, because although they are mad in praise of Krishna, They have little regard for the real devotees of Krishna. Krishna is not alone. A king is always present with his entourage, his great establishment. If one is really to approach the king, it must be done through the proper channel. Krishna is always surrounded by a big hierarchy, a big bureaucracy, and one cannot approach Krishna directly. He whose approach is real must select a proper channel. He cannot but praise those devotees and revere them for their magnanimity. It is only by their help that we can get the nearness of Krishna. Should we think it possible that one can take a jump across the whole system and approach the king, it is unreal. Someone may be externally engaged in such a way that apparently he is a great devotee of Krishna. But if he eliminates the devotees, that devotion has not taken real shape. It is a vague thing. He is far away from Krishna. Suppose we take an example, the highest peak in the Himalayas, Mount Everest. We can see Mount Everest from far off, but to approach Mount Everest, we must pass through so many closer mountain peaks. When our approach to Mount Everest is genuine, we cannot avoid discovering the name and characteristics of other peaks surrounding Mount Everest. But from far off, we can see only Mount Everest and not the other peaks surrounding it. So when we say that our when we say that our connection is with Krishna alone, then we are far off. If we are to actually approach the king, we must approach him through his entourage. If we are actually to approach Everest, we cannot but have a connection with the nearer peaks surrounding the highest peak. So if we are practically engaged in approaching Krishna, our approach will be realistic only when we are engaged with the many devotees in different departments of service to Krishna. I noted when we were preaching in South India that whenever any gentleman who was a renowned devotee in a particular place approached our Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, he used to ask such men, under whose guidance does your devotional service to Krishna go on? Generally, they used to say, no, I'm directly concerned with Lord Krishna and Lord Ram. Then when they went away, we heard our Guru Maharaj say, he has no devotion. That person was dismissed as an imitation devotee. That is a vague kind of devotion. It has not taken any particular shape because he is ignoring the ashray, the shelter-giving devotee, in the position surrounding the Lord. This is the great test of devotion. Otherwise, without taking shelter of a devotee, if one shows great devotion, what is his motive? Generally, they think we want liberation, not the service of Krishna. But to earn liberation, we're accepting the devotion to Krishna. That is a lower form of worship, worldly worship, not real worship in the transcendental plane. That is not eternal, but temporary. Devotion to the Lord must not be subservient to any other aim of life. The desire for liberation is one criterion of an imitation devotee, and another criterion is the neglect of elevated devotees. When the Lord alone is being worshipped, that is also false. These two kinds of apparent devotional practices, which are generally seen in the world, may be dismissed, but the world does not get any news of all these things. Then a devotee says, so the spiritual master is sometimes called the Ashraya Vigraha, the personality of whom one must take shelter? Sri Guru Maharaj replies, yes, just as in the beginning one sees the forest from a distance, but in the end he enters the inner circle of the forest. So from far off, Krishna alone appears to be the Ashraya, the giver of shelter. But when we approach Krishna more closely, we will find our shelter among his devotees. Our real shelter is found within his inner circle of servitors, not with Krishna directly. We are of a vitiated nature, but there are those who under no circumstances deviate from Krishna. They are the eternal paraphernalia of the Lord. They are not like us. They are eternally connected with Krishna, but we are sometimes coming and going away. We are unreliable servitors. That is our position. So we cannot claim the same position as the absolute servitors of the Lord. Under their guidance, we can be given the chance of service. So we must accept that position. We are recruits. We are not amongst the permanent servitors of Krishna. We must perform our service under a bona fide superior. The new followers must be gradually accommodated under some bona fide permanent servitors in the land of Krishna. So there we are. Yes, right. Tadyanam, as it says in that verse, but Tadyanam means his, what belongs to him. That Tadyanam, Samarchanam, that we are to worship that which belongs to him, meaning his paraphernalia and specifically his devotees. So, Maharaj, what do you say?
What I can say, first of all, is that we have lots of devotees from London and from UK here, dotted around the world. And not just London, we have our new devotee, Sunanda Devidasi, with us, with Jagannath Prabhu. And so Sandra is now Sunanda and living in Bournemouth. And we've got in Limerick, we've got our Pandit devotee, who's always very helpful for giving a flow of quotes to support the different topics we discuss. It's Gadadhar Pandit Prabhu and the Limerick devotees. And we just came from there this morning and had breakfast by their grace on the way and came here, met with Devashis Prabhu in London. And then we came together on the flight here to the Vila Govinda Ashram in Italy. Where am I? Okay, Vila Govinda Ashram in Italy. But we also have Jai Gauranga Prabhu. And is that Lavanya, Moi, with you there? Lavanya, yes? No, I can't see. You're a postage stamp on my computer.
Lakshmi Rani in Colombia.
Oh, Lakshmi Rani, okay. You're camouflaged in the corner there. Lakshmi Rani did. I got the right language at least. Oh, no, I didn't. Lavanya is English. Okay. I got jet lag. It's a 1 hour difference from Ireland. But also I saw more devotees from England. And please excuse me that we are mentioning other devotees. But I did see other devotees here from England. Anyway, from all over the world, devotees are here. And my little bit of addition, so we would like to hear, we're in London, we'd like to hear from the devotees some contribution. And just my contribution at the moment is, realistically, we see Gurudev and we see Srila Guru Maharaj. We see the relationship that devotees have with them. And you can say firsthand, we can think that if somebody will come to Gurudev, come to Guru Maharaj, and they're getting so many guidances on worship and etc. But if they will think, okay, now I'm going to make my altar, and on my altar I'm going to have Krishna, and I'm going to just worship Krishna, now I don't need anybody to help me, then it will be sort of very clear that something's amiss. Maybe they've got faith in God, faith in Krishna, but something is amiss. So this way we have like the direct experience that we worship. And worship, what does worship mean? It is not a selfish thing that I want something. It's praise, honor, it's giving honor and showing our honor by service. We are coming to render service. Otherwise, what are we worshipping, or why are we worshipping? I'm going to give some incense so I can get something. No, we're seeing we've got great personalities, and what can I do to help? as Siddhanta Maharaj said at that time, Chidananda, well, even before being Chidananda, when he saw Srila Prabhupada, he just felt, how can I help him? What can I do to help him? He's here in America and looks like he would be happy to have some help. So anyway, appreciation means service, that we will do something. And so Srila Gurudev had also a nice example, and maybe it's a parable. I don't know the source. Maybe Gadadhar Pandit Prabhu can help us out in a moment or two. But Srila Gurudev, he told about how there was a very good servitor of his master, and doing the services given by his master, and a very good servitor, and he's working so hard. And so Krishna was very pleased with him. I think, okay, great, Krishna is pleased with him. This was actually Narayan in the example that Gurudev was giving, but Narayan is Krishna. But Krishna likes to become Narayan sometimes. And so, or eternally also, not even sometimes. We have to forget about our time in the world. Okay. Anyhow, so Krishna as Narayan, he was very pleased with this devotee's service to his master, dedication, selflessness, detachment from the material world, his joy in just being a selfless giving person. And then Lord Narayan himself comes, maybe on the back of Garuda, but he's coming to that devotee and say, okay, I'm so pleased with you. Now you come to Vaikuntha. Now promotion time. You've been serving here. Now you come to Vaikuntha. But then that servitor, he says, oh, Narayan, don't trouble me. Don't interrupt my service. You're taking away my time from service of my master here. Yes, Narayan, you're wonderful. Everything. I thank you for the invitation, but I'm otherwise engaged. Okay, so anyway, giving all appreciation, but he's staying in service to his master. And Gurudev gave this example. The facts may be a little different. I mean, I'm not sure if he came on Garuda. I mean, many things like this, but we can embellish a Leela a little bit. But the purpose, the example, what in our earlier life we call a parable, if you like, is that to serve our affectionate masters, to serve the Vaishnavas, not only like this master and student sounds also very official sometimes, but this loving exchange of service to those who we know are senior, and here we are, what can I do? And we're rendering service. And this is the actual worship which is not lip deep, but the practical, the activity of worship will manifest in the form of rendering service. And really, Krishna, little far away, I mean, I heard the universe is very wide, and then it's got 7 coverings, which are extremely wide, and each covering is many times thicker than the previous covering. Then you've got a big river to cross. And then after that, you've got the whole of Vaikuntha, which when you measure it is infinite to cross to get to Krishna. So anyhow, there's a lot of if we think of measurement, there's a long way to go. How far away is Krishna in that sense if we don't have our inside connection? If we don't know somebody who's got that inside connection to give us the shortcut, the route there. So we really do need to, not only now that in this life I'm going to serve a Vaishnava, but we need to be ready and want to serve the Lord's servitors always. And when death comes, means the body is not fit anymore, then that service will continue. It's not that everything is stopped, we lost everything. Oh, just like we lost all our bank account, we lost all those things, we lost our service life. Krishna promises in Bhagavad Gita, again, that whatever we do in devotional life, in our aspiration for the ideal, will not be lost. So with sincerity, we shall try to go forwards and forwards and forwards, and keep in mind these expressions of Srila Gurudev and the reality that service to the Vaishnavas is a beautiful thing. And service to Krishna if we avoid the Vaishnavas, like only have Krishna, we can really understand, well, we're dreaming a little bit. It's wonderful to have that thought, but everything must come through the devotees to the Lord. The devotees are wonderful, and Krishna is wonderful. So it's a wonderful process. It's Hare Krishna, this line of devotion service. So service, 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 and appreciating the Vaishnavas. And again, not just, oh, I'll serve my master, or I'll serve a 100% pure devotee. When I'm going to analyze every devotee, when I find somebody who I have judged to be 100% pure, then, okay, now they're fit to serve and not anybody else. It is not that. We need to see the devotional side in everybody and give that honor to them and to assist everybody. Here on the wall in Vila Govinda Ashram, the original copy is in California, United States of America, a distant corner of the world. There is a handwritten directions of Gurudev. And one of those directions there is to increase the faith in others in the line of Mahaprabhu and increase one's own faith. I don't have the wording exactly in front of me, but something along those lines. It is like that. So here we are. We need to serve the devotees, each other. This means each other, to help us to increase the faith of anyone that we meet, those who have some faith to increase. And also our own faith, we must always keep guarded and come forward. Okay, Munindra Mohan Prabhu has come. And I'm going to look through Munindra Mohan Prabhu's eyes, because these are his glasses. I didn't have them. Sorry, Saraswati. I saw you. Yes, Saraswati is with us also. So Saraswati, sorry. The other glasses from London are in the room next door. Okay, so I'm looking through Munindra's eyes by seeing this. Here we are, Srila Gurudev's handwriting. And I do know his handwriting, dear devotees. I mean, okay, anyway, really, I do know his handwriting. We were with Gurudev for years, and so many, handwritten things, corrections, amendments, deletions, all sorts of things we are very, happy to have been witness to. So I'm just going to read Gurudev's handwriting. To try to increase faith of others in the line of Mahaprabhu as directed by Srila Guru Maharaj. Acha, so this was a Mahananda edition about one's own faith. But Gurudev, we take this, that it is something that always, and in other places when you read Srila Gurudev's directions, we always must guard our faith, whatever we have, to at least keep that. But when the opportunity comes, we must always try to get nourishment to make our faith stronger. But this idea, to try to increase the faith of others in the line of Mahaprabhu, as directed by Srila Guru Maharaj. So the devotees coming together. What is Srila Guru Maharaj's line? It is Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's line. It is the line of Rupa Goswami, of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and all those other super exalted souls in the middle. And its service to the devotees, the worship of the devotees, is the best of all. And it is real, it's tangible, and we can all do it. We can all do it. We can all pour a glass of water. We can all offer some incense. We can all do practical things like that. So anyhow, this was my thoughts, some few words from me. And by the way, today, the thing is, we've been talking lots of devotees, but it was Devashis today, was just saying about how when the body dies, we're still continuing. Everything continues. We always think that, it's going to, when I die, or in that last moment of my life, I'll become a serious devotee. But what we are doing now, this is going to continue. And if the ceiling caves in and suddenly we're not here, then still we have this mentality, this mood, which is going to go with us. So the devotees are not afraid of death, but they're going in the journey of Vaishnava Seva, Guru Seva, and always we say, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. So not in the plane of only the worship of the Lord directly. Hare Krishna. And maybe we ask, yes, Gadadhar Pandru is with us. He's in the Limerick Zoom. And those of you who have your camera this way, if you turn it this way, you'll probably see the whole of the Zoom. I know different phones and different things see different amounts, but I saw that sometimes if you have on a phone, you keep it this way, you don't see the whole crew. So now we can see the whole crew in Limerick, and we just came from there, and it feels like I'm still there with you. Dandavat to you all. As you can see, we arrived safe and well with good association. Devashis Prabhu. Oh, by the way, just before we start, we should just share the inner room here, or the temple room. Then there are lots of devotees, and this is not all the devotees. Others are doing seva.
Sorry. Is the microphone gone blue? It's picking up the sound.
I'm not sure.
Yes, we can hear you. I don't know. Could they see you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Gadadhar Pandit, we can hear very well. I'm seeing
Okay.
seeing myself now through Manindra Mohandas. Okay, that's better. When I'm fuzzy, I look better. Okay.
So the sound is fine, is it? The sound is fine. Okay.
Please.
Okay. All right. Well, Dandavat Maharaj and Devashish Prabhu and all devotees. So when I was looking at the topic last night, actually with you, Maharaj, sitting at the table here, I said, well, there's definitely, with this topic, there's definitely going to be 2 verses that will be on the menu.
Yeah.
And the first one is Aradhananam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradharam Param Tasmat Parataram Devi Tariyanam Samarchanam, of course. And then Yeme Bhakta Janapata Name Bhaktas Chate Jana Mad Bhaktanam Chaye Bhaktas Teme Bhakta Tamamataha, which is sounds like a Gita sloka because it's in the Anustup Mita, but it's actually from the Adi Purana, where Krishna says that those who are my direct devotees are not, I don't consider them so much my devotees, but those ones that are serving the people that I love, my devotees, they're the ones that are actually my devotees. So it's a bit ironical, but that's the way it is that Krishna says that those who love the people that I love, who serve them, who fulfill the deficiency that I feel not being able to serve them, they're actually serving me. So I thought those 2 verses have to come up. And of course, the passage that Devashish Prabhu selected, Guru Maharaj is expressing those 2 verses. They are also expressed in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the chapter entitled The Veda Kirtan Pastimes of Mahaprabhu, of Lord Chaitanya, when Maharaj Prataparudra is attempting to get the darshan of the Lord. He's desperate for it. The Lord has come down into his kingdom, into his protectorate, and he's feeling greatly honored and privileged as a result of hosting Mahaprabhu, so to speak, in his kingdom. But he's also feeling greatly unfortunate because he cannot get the direct darshan of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. He sees himself as like someone who's won the lottery but is unable to cash the ticket, so to speak. Like, so fortunate, yet so unfortunate not being able to directly connect with Mahaprabhu. So he's trying to get to Mahaprabhu, and he asked Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and to approach Lord Chaitanya on his behalf. And Mahaprabhu is quite adamant about the fact that he's not going to meet with royalty. This is not the accepted conduct of a sannyasi to be seen fraternizing with royalties. Not a good look. And he says, to the extent that he says to Sarvabhauma, if you press the issue, then I'm gone. I go. So this kind of shocked Sarvabhauma. And he said, all right, well, let's just drop the issue then. Not going to risk that happening. So then, but still, Ramananda Rai, he then is besieged by Prataparudra Maharaj to attempt to organize a darshan with Mahaprabhu. And so he approaches Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu says to him that because you have affection for Prataparudra Maharaj as a devotee, because you have affection, he's definitely going to get the blessings of Krishna at some stage. That's guaranteed, because Krishna's devotee, it's a given. It's a known that you are Krishna's devotee and you have affection for him. Therefore, Krishna cannot but give him affection at some stage. And this kind of eases the mind of Prataparudra, because it's sort of hinting, Mahaprabhu saying, well, you know, if you like him, Ramananda, and then you're dear to me, so things will be okay in the end with him. And we see how it was organized in that way. He did get to meet with Gauranga Mahaprabhu. But in that chapter where this Leela is being discussed, both Mahaprabhu mentions both those verses, Aradhananam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam Param, and also Yeme Bhakta Janapartha, etc. Both those verses are mentioned in this regard. So one may say, okay, that's fair enough. We can understand this concept. But what makes it the highest concept? What makes this Krishna thing, or the worship of the devotee of Krishna, so great relative to other forms of worship, you could say outside of the Vaishnava sphere, or even inside of the Bhakti sphere, but other kinds of Bhakti, like to Ganesh or Surya or Lord Shiva, like what necessarily makes it so much better in that regard? And Rupa Goswami presents the concept of evaluating the depth or the value of a faith system based on rasa. So Goswami Maharaj used to like to give the example of a gold standard when measuring the value, the relative value of a currency. They all have relative values, you know, in relation to each other. But to understand its true value, it has to have some kind of standard, some kind of fixed standard against which the currency is measured. And that it's not so much operational anymore, but it used to be until maybe the 1930s. And it was called the gold standard. So the gold standard in terms of measurement of a faith, Rupa Goswami proposes, is based on rasa, the depth, the quality, the sweetness, the depth, the quality, and the quantity of rasa that's evoked in the practitioner and that is exchanged in the devotional life of the practitioner is a measure of the value of that particular faith system. So this a value system based on rasa, the depth of the rasa in Madhura rasa is by all objective measures the highest. That is why it's known as the sweetest. And that's why it's known to contain all of the other rasas from Shanta, Dasya, Shakya, and Vatsalya. They're all contained inside Madhura, plus the Madhura element of sweetness. So Rupa Goswami says this is by a measure of rasa, by the taste and ecstasy produced, it can be seen to be the highest form of faith or religious practice. And given that, Krishna is known as Rasaraj, so the king of rasa, the holder of rasa, the emporium of rasa. But then he says, but don't come to me directly, come to my devotee. And this is Rupa Goswami establishing this concept, and then Krishna saying that, well, yes, me, but my devotee. And that devotee, of course, is ultimately the highest devotee is Srimati Radharani, and we see that Rupa Goswami describing this concept of rasa is a maidservant in that circle, serving as a manjari, serving Lalita Shakti and Srimati Radharani. And then Mahaprabhu taking that very substance of that highest devotion and tasting it in this world and then distributing it. And then we get these concepts described, such as these leelas, which are instructive and very practically instructive, as mentioned in the Veda Kirtan pastimes of Mahaprabhu, where Prataparudra Maharaj is being given the darshan and the mercy of Mahaprabhu, and it's coming through the agency of the devotees. It's not necessarily coming from Mahaprabhu directly, but through the agency of the devotees. And then we can bring into it the glory of Nityananda Prabhu and the distribution, the agency of Nityananda Prabhu. Again, the devotees of Mahaprabhu that are distributing his mercy, and Mahaprabhu himself as the embodiment of Srimati Radharani's Mahabhav, distributing that. It's all the devotees of Krishna that are tasting, serving Krishna and serving each other. So from Das Anudas, the devotee serving the devotee. And ultimately, of course, there was a talk wasn't one of these talks themed the central importance of the devotee or something like that recently? So it's a little connected to that. But the devotee being all in all, and references to that absolutely pepper the Shastra. Some that come to mind are in some that I particularly like personally are in the 9th canto of the Bhagavatam, where Devasa Muni has offended Ambarish Maharaj and is being pursued by the Sudarshan Chakra. And he reaches Lord Narayan and he's seeking protection, but he's also seeking some kind of explanation for what's going on, because he hasn't experienced this phenomenon before. This is new to him. This depth of devotion possessed by Ambarish Maharaj as being more powerful than all of his accumulated tapasya shakti. It seems to be insignificant in relation to the simple devotion of Ambarish Maharaj. So he's seeking an explanation of what's going on here. And so is it okay if I just read a couple of verses from, there's about 6 or 7 verses that we will have heard them before, but they're kind of relevant to this.
Sure. Actually, everyone here has got big smiling faces. We're all absorbed listening to you. But we do want to give a few minutes of Saraswati presently. So please read the verses.
Oh, yeah.
And
Okay.
come to the
All right, I'll
side
finish
of
up,
mine.
Maharaj.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
No.
I'll finish up.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So just so Narayan here is explaining to Devasa Muni the greatness of the devotee. So, and it starts at text 63 of Canto 9, Chapter 4. So, and it's the famous verse, Aham Bhakta Paradhino Hyasvatantra Ivad Dvija Sarubhiya Grasta Hridayo Bhaktir Bhakta Janapriya, where the Lord is saying that I'm completely under the control of my devotees. I'm not dependent. Hyasvatantra means dependent. Hyasvatantra, I'm not actually independent in that regard. Indeed, I'm not at all independent, because my devotees are completely devoid of material desires. I sit only within the very core of their hearts. What to speak of my devotee, even those who are devotees of my devotees are very dear to me. And the verses go on a little bit. I won't actually read them. There's about 6 or 7 verses where Lord Narayan is explaining to Devasa Muni, who's a very powerful yogi, the supreme status of his devotees. So I was going to say another couple of things, but I'll leave it there. Maharaj.
Prabhu, wonderful to have a flowing current, and also with the quotations from the scripture. And by the way, for those of you who are on the back to basics class, or whatever the C stands for, I forgot, I think it's class. Anyway, BBBC, yesterday morning, then Keshavananda Prabhu was talking, and he's been there in Jaipur, seeing Govindaji in many places, and really, he was like so enthusiastic in his deliverance. And then the devotee said, Oh, he's becoming intoxicated. He's become intoxicated with the darshan of Govinda, etc. And now hearing from you, we also are feeling a sweet current of enthusiastic description of the service of the Lord's devotees, etc., etc. On our theme today. So anyway, Girada Pandit Prabhu, wonderful. And Saraswati, the manager of the London, well, she doesn't like to be called manager. She gets chastised for that. Okay. She's the Dasan, she describes, I'm the Dasan. I'm the Dasyanu Das of the Vaishnavas. She described herself in that way. But she's there on the other side of Ireland. We were all together yesterday in Limerick, and she's come over, she's in Wexford. So Saraswati, please, just a few words from you on this very subject about what is the best of best kind of all kinds of worship. Saraswati, anybody home? Anybody home?
Dear Maharaj, I wanted to pass the microphone to Kumkum Didi, actually. I wasn't prepared to speak. I mean, you have covered everything, and Devashis Prabhu and Gadadhar Pandit very nicely. Well, you have said it. We are Das, Anudas. We are servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. Really? We are trying to take shelter and serve those devotees who are dedicated in this line of Srila Gurudev. And I think the Lord is very, very far away for us to think about worshiping the Lord directly. We always need to take some guidance from the devotees to serve the Lord and follow their footsteps, in their footsteps. And yeah, that is the way that is most safe for us. But I'm very sorry I can't really share much with you. I mean, from such a qualified devotees here that I'm a bit shy to say more. The pandits and the senior devotees who are giving their lives in the service of Gurudev. And it's very inspiring to see their activities, glorious activities of service. So we just try to get inspiration from them and try to kind of take their example of service. And that is very good. We can serve them, worship them. Then we will have some, they will be very beneficial for us if we take shelter in those devotees who are dedicated to the service of Srila Gurudev. So, yeah, I think, sorry.
Wow. Okay, Saraswati, maybe we put you on the spot a bit. It is the London Zoom, but now you're so absorbed in Ireland, you're thinking, oh, I'm in the Irish section. And it's Saraswati, anyway, well said. I mean, just everything from the heart, very beautiful. But Kum Didi is here, and you can see that. And I've got the bigger screen here, so you have to see. But Kum Didi, yes, indeed, you are here, and you're most probably here, our senior most devotee. In fact, certainly our senior most devotee. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, and Srila Gurudev, receiving grace from them all. A few words from you by our humble request and by Saraswati's humble request too. I think you have to honor Saraswati, please. Her request. Yes, I need to click your birth. Saraswati, are you sure Kumkum's here?
She just sent a message on the chat, quoting something. 1 second.
Oh, I'm meeting up. Oh, yes, she's not able to attend. She's doing something there.
She has sent one note on the chat.
Here is one note. Okay, it's not the 5th note of the flute of Krishna. So, well, the note is, Srila Prabhupada, so it's Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And here, it's a talk. So Srila Prabhupada, anyway, I see the various quotes about the highest form of worship. So I'll just read the beginning part because I see there are various excerpts here. So Srila Prabhupada saying, in the Padma Purana, there is a nice statement praising the service of the Vaishnavas or devotees. In that scripture, Lord Shiva tells Parvati, yes, okay, but we've read this same just now, so let's not exactly repeat it. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a quote here. A pure devotee of the Lord cannot be separated from the lotus feet of the Lord. Okay, so this is Srila Prabhupada in a purport, a commentary in Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto. So Srila Prabhupada is saying, a pure devotee of the Lord cannot be separated from the lotus feet of the Lord for even a moment. Undoubtedly, the Lord is always within the hearts of all living creatures, but they hardly know about it because they are deluded by the illusory material energy. The devotees, however, realize the presence of the Lord, and therefore they can always see the lotus feet of the Lord within their hearts. Such pure devotees of the Lord are as glorious as the Lord. They are, in fact, recommended by the Lord as more worshipable than he himself. Worship of the devotee is more potent than worship of the Lord. So very good to hear. And okay, I'll give one more, just a short quote. So I'm speaking on behalf of Kumkum Devi because she's selected these. But again, Srila Prabhupada in a purport and is mentioning, Lord Krishna says, we just said, okay, my bhakta puja vyadika. The worship of my devotee is better than worship of me. So this is a similar thing. Okay, so very good. And actually, with the link that is in the chat box, and we can all take a little look at that in our own time. But we have Devashish Prabhu live here. And so I'd just like to pass the microphone to Devashish Prabhu to conclude the gathering. It's actually the London gathering, and Devashish Prabhu is the secretary of the London chapter of Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math. So here we are. We are more devotees here, but we are all listening with rapt attention now to Devashish Prabhu to sum up for today.
Yes. Oh yes. It's fundamental to our understanding and our real connection with divinity that must be with the devotee of Krishna. And even Srila Guru Maharaj, he said, when I first came, I'm thinking, yes, we worship the spiritual master, but at some point I'll get my direct connection with Krishna. So, but very soon I realized actually the relationship with the devotee is all in all, and that Krishna is very far away from us, but Krishna is most easily accessible to us through his devotee, and it's a kind of symbiosis, as Guru Maharaj is explaining, when Krishna wants to grace his devotee, but the devotee won't accept. No, I am always the servant, you are the master. And so Krishna can't give his devotee the, you can say, reward that he wants to give them for his service. So he gives us an opportunity to serve those devotees. And although we are very fallen and unqualified, the very thing that Krishna wants to do is being fulfilled somehow or another through us. So although we are not worthy of that, it's a kind of symbiosis that the Lord has created, which helps us, actually fulfills his desire in every way. It fulfills his desire to give his grace to his real devotee, and it gives us the opportunity to engage in the service of his real devotee, because we can pray to Krishna for birth after birth after birth, and he may ignore us, but his real devotee he cannot dismiss so easily. So if that devotee says, oh, this boy or this girl, they're very nice, they're trying very hard to please you, my Lord, you please give some attention to them, then Krishna must give some attention to their direction, and he's not able to dismiss them as easily. So this way, in a perfect way, we get our opportunity to be useful in the service of Lord Krishna, and for that is actually why we exist. So this is also a very important turning point in the life of any real devotee, is when we realize that everything is meant only to satisfy him, and as we are part and parcel of his creation, part and parcel of him, we are also meant to satisfy him. Once we understand that, then the rest is only filling in the details. Okay, so now I understand that I'm meant to satisfy him. How do I satisfy him? And that in its turn means we have to go to the real devotee of Krishna. Please, Lord, you show me how to satisfy Krishna. So this is very nice, wonderful process for our benefit and also for the satisfaction of the Lord. So this is our subject for our meeting tonight, and it's something that we can all reflect on, because it's very fundamental to Krishna consciousness, actually, real Krishna consciousness. But now time has come, so we can offer our obeisances to everybody, and we can tell Jai to our masters. Jai Om Vishnupad, Jagat Guru Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Jai Om Vishnupad, Kuluchuramani Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai, Rupanu Guru Bhagya ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Acharya Brinda ki Jai, Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj ki Jai, all the world devotees ki Jai, Samadvaita Vaishnava Mandali ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Gopinath Jiu ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande.
Jai Sripad Devashis Prabhu ki Jai, all the assembled devotees ki Jai. Go Premanande. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. And devotional service to the devotees is very happy and sweet. It's natural. So wishing you a special devotional week, and we'll see you again soon on Zoom. See you soon on Zoom. And in the meantime, the day after tomorrow is the first anniversary of the deities installation here. Devashis here engaged in that very seva 1 year ago, and I'm sure they'll be broadcasting it on something, Facebook or Instagram. But if you join us on that day, we'll be very happy to. Dandavat, Dandavat, appreciation to all of you and to our translators and to the Lord.